The story begins with a father and his son walking through a swampy area in search of food. While hunting, they hear something moving in the woods. Using binoculars, they try to see what's going on. They spot a wild boar calmly feeding. Together, they slowly approach it. The son hands his father a bow and arrow, and the father shoots the arrow toward the boar. They follow the trail of blood it leaves behind, but the boar disappears into the marsh, leaving them disappointed. On their way home, they find a small child's shoe. Curious, they decide to follow the tracks until they come across an abandoned car. While inspecting the car, the father discovers a cigarette butt, while the son finds some biscuits. The son eats a few pieces but tries to hide them when his father approaches. Unfortunately, he accidentally presses the car's horn. The sound attracts a pack of wolves nearby. The two quickly get into the car and remain still. The wolves pass by without detecting them. Later, they fall asleep inside the car. Upon waking, they resume their journey home. Along the way, the son finishes the remaining biscuits and discards the wrapper. When they arrive at their home, which is concealed behind branches to protect it from predators and the weather, they open the branch-covered entrance. Inside the house, the son immediately checks on his girlfriend, who is sick and has wounds on her body. That night, the father boils water to produce safe drinking water. Meanwhile, the son gives his girlfriend some medicine, which she promptly takes. The father then steps outside to smoke, using the cigarette butt he found in the abandoned car. As he does, he hears howling and the distant sounds of wild animals. The next morning, the son goes out to use the nearby toilet area. In the distance, he spots a group of strangers approaching. He rushes back home to warn his father. The father quickly gets ready, putting on his shoes and gathering essential items into a backpack, which he then hands to his son. He opens a back door in order to hide his family in the makeshift latrine nearby. After making sure they are safe, he decides to confront the intruders. The father manages to fight off several of them, but the attackers are too many, and they finally corner him. The intruders tie him up after defeating him. Their leader finds the abandoned backpack and takes it. They seize whatever belongings they find, including the girlfriend's medicine, then haul the father away, leaving the family behind in hiding. As the leader of the group approaches the latrine and attempts to open it, the son inside braces against the hatch so it won't open. The leader then tries peeking in, but an overwhelming stench from inside the latrine drives him away. Once it's quiet, the son emerges from the latrine, only to discover that their home is in ruins. He notices food wrappers scattered around and realizes that these remnants likely led the attackers to their location. Inside the house, his girlfriend's pain worsens as her wound becomes more severe. Seeing she urgently needs medicine to survive, the son feels responsible. He considers ending her suffering out of compassion. He takes a pillow and brings it near her face but cannot bring himself to do it. In the end, he stops and decides to find another way. He steps outside, adding more branches to camouflage their home from view, then wraps plastic around his feet, since he has no shoes. Before leaving, he takes a photograph of his father as a keepsake, and closes the door tightly. Determined to find medicine for his girlfriend, and if possible to rescue his father, he sets off on a long journey. He walks far through cold conditions, even sleeping on the ground for rest. Meanwhile, back at the house, his injured girlfriend awakens and tries to leave but is unable to do so because the entrance is sealed. During his trek, the son wakes to see another young boy walking close by. He decides to follow, but the young boy notices him and sprints toward his own house. The son chases after him until they reach that home, where the young boy shuts the door to the room he shares with his elderly father. Once inside, the son picks up a pair of pants from a chair, takes the old man's jacket, and also grabs a pair of shoes from the floor. He leaves without harming anyone. Pressing on, he notices a trail of blood leading to a small campfire that's nearly extinguished. By the fire, he sees a human skeleton, apparently the remains of someone, possibly another victim of cannibals. He is deeply shaken by the sight, perhaps in horror. Afterward, he buries the human remains he has discovered and continues on his journey. Further along, he climbs a tall tree to scout the surrounding area. From this vantage point, he spots smoke rising not too far away. However, he slips and falls, injuring himself. The sound of his fall draws nearby wolves, who start closing in on him. In desperation, he lights a fire to protect himself. Elsewhere, the group of attackers tending to one of their wounded companions hears the wolves howling in the distance. As night falls, the son finds himself surrounded by wolves. Wielding a torch, he wards them off, and although some attempt to attack him, they ultimately retreat, fearful of the flames. He spends the night there and at daybreak, continues toward the smoke he noticed before. On the way, he comes upon a small tent. Wanting to be certain it's safe, he throws a rock at it. Hearing no response, he walks over and checks inside. He finds an empty water bottle, a few scraps of cloth, some matches, a folding knife, and a dog whistle in a small bag. As he steps back out, a child appears, sees him, and runs away. The son then reaches a river, where he spots the leader's wife washing a knife. Watching carefully from a distance, tailing her all the way to the group's settlement, he notices her boiling water before going inside a trailer. Moving stealthily, he avoids various traps around the area and slips into the trailer. Inside, he finds his backpack and starts searching for the medicine his girlfriend needs. While he's rifling through a drawer, the leader's wife re-enters and attacks him. He evades her initial strike, but she leaps at him and tries to stab him. A furious struggle ensues. Ultimately, he grabs a rock and strikes her on the head until she goes limp. Spotting the blood flowing from her wound, he makes the choice not to kill her. Afterward, he returns to the trailer to continue looking, but the imminent return of other members of the group forces him to leave hurriedly. Before departing, he wipes the blood from the floor, pulls the woman's body over near the campfire, slips the kettle of water into his backpack, then conceals her there. From behind a tree, he observes the group bringing a young boy they've taken captive as their next victim. Their leader walks toward the trailer but notices nothing amiss. After administering medicine to their wounded companion, the group departs the settlement, unaware that the injured woman remains on the ground nearby. Meanwhile, the wounded girlfriend struggles to endure her worsening pain, cleaning her injury as best she can while anxiously awaiting his return. When the group prepares to cook the boy they captured, he is nearly discovered by one of them who approaches his hiding place to relieve himself. Upon returning, the man finds his wife's axe and wonders how it ended up there. Once at the site, the leader explains the situation to his group, and they begin searching for the intruder. During this time, the son quickly buries the leader's wife and sneaks into the settlement. On his way, he passes heaps of human remains, the tragic remnants of people devoured by these attackers. He reaches the captured boy and attempts to set him free. However, the young prisoner screams, thinking he is part of the attackers. The wounded member of the group hears the noise but assumes the boy is simply scared, so he does not investigate further. The son then uses his folding knife to cut the captive child's bindings, allowing him to escape. When the wounded attacker steps out to pursue, he finds no one. The son next tries to open the suitcase that he suspects holds the medicine his girlfriend needs, but it is locked. He soon realizes the attackers have returned, forcing him to hide under the trailer. Furious at the wounded man for allowing the captive boy to flee, the leader strikes him with a club. While examining the suitcase, the leader notices mud on the lock, realizing someone has tampered with it. Later that night, they find the leader's wife's body and decide to burn it. The son, still watching from a distance, observes that the key to the suitcase hangs around the leader's neck. Early the next morning, he slips back into the trailer carrying a lit match for light. Moving carefully through the dark trailer where the attackers are sleeping, he approaches the leader, ignites another small stick, and cuts the cord holding the key around the leader's neck. Though the leader stirs, he does not fully awaken, and the son succeeds in taking the key. Hurrying outside, he unlocks the suitcase and discovers the medicine. After securing it, he locks the trailer from the outside to trap the attackers before dashing away toward his home. Unfortunately, he triggers a snare that alerts them. Roused from sleep, they give chase. As he runs toward his house, he worries about his girlfriend, who is alone and surrounded by wolves. Meanwhile, the group's leader comes across the wounded man struggling to move. Without mercy, the leader throws him to the ground and crushes his neck underfoot, ending his life. The rest of the attackers continue their pursuit, firing arrows, but the son manages to outrun them. On his route, he arrives at the home of the elderly man and the young boy he encountered earlier, only to see wolf tracks around the property. Entering, he realizes the old man has been devoured by wolves. Disheartened, he departs, but the attackers soon catch up and knock him down from behind. When he regains consciousness, he is bound to a log being transported back to their settlement. They place him near the fire, clearly intending to cook him. Although he tries to free himself, he cannot. As the attackers step away momentarily, he notices his folding knife lying on the ground and begins crawling toward it. The leader sees this, kicks the knife aside, burns the photograph of his father in front of him, and forces him to watch as they sharpen their blades. He then spots the dog whistle not far away. Inch by inch, he crawls closer, takes it in his mouth, and blows it. The attackers attempt to stop him, but they are too late. The whistle has summoned the wolves. Realizing the danger, the attackers panic and flee, leaving him behind. Once they are gone, he quickly grabs the knife and cuts himself free, hiding behind the logs as the wolves descend upon the fleeing attackers. After the pack has moved on, he recovers his clothes and the medicine he needs. Meanwhile, the leader, unable to keep pace with his fleeing comrades, stabs one of his own men to stall the wolves. He manages to escape into the forest while the wolves attack his companion. The son dresses swiftly and starts back toward his girlfriend. Soon, 3 surviving attackers return to the settlement and find him gone from the fireside. They decide to split up and follow his tracks. Exhausted, he stops by a large tree to rest. One of the attackers creeps up from behind, approaching cautiously. However, the son is actually perched in the tree. Seeing the attacker come near, he jumps down, and they begin to grapple. The attacker gains the upper hand with a strong hold, but the son notices a knife on the ground within reach and grabs it. Just then, a second attacker arrives to find what appears to be his comrade dragging a lifeless body. Relieved, he moves closer, only to realize that it is the son wearing the first attacker's clothes. Catching him off guard, the son strikes swiftly and overcomes the second attacker. Afterward, he takes their bow and arrows, continuing on in search of the leader. He finds the leader, then shoots the leader in the leg with an arrow. Now aware that this is no ally, the leader panics. In attempting to ready another arrow, the son succumbs to anger and pulls the bow too hard, snapping it. Left without a ranged weapon, both prepare to fight with their knives at close range. However, the sound of nearby wolves suddenly echoes. The son makes the decision to abandon the leader, confident that he can outrun him. Within moments, the wolves reach the leader and attack, while the son escapes unharmed. Continuing toward his girlfriend, he comes across a house he has never seen before. On the front porch, he finds the body of a woman who appears to have ended her own life with a pistol. He takes the pistol and goes inside. There, he discovers a larger firearm and a box of ammunition. He also notices that water is flowing from the tap and drinks as much as he can. After refilling his bottle and gathering a few cans of food, he hears someone enter the house. To his shock, the attacker's leader appears, wielding a knife. When the son tries to shoot him, the gun is empty. The leader lunges with the knife, triggering a fierce brawl. He leaps on the son and tries to choke him, but the son presses down on the leader's injured leg, causing him to scream in pain. Using that opportunity, the son grabs the smaller pistol he found earlier and fires a shot to the leader's head, ending his life. He then returns to the home of the old man and the young boy, leaving a few cans of food in hopes that the child might still be alive, before hurrying back home as fast as possible. Upon arriving, he sees the door open. He goes inside to check, finding the house empty. Heartbroken, he collapses to the floor in tears. Amid his sorrow, a woman approaches him from behind and gently touches his shoulder. Her face is never revealed, and with that, the film ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.